I've been away for a few days in Athens on a trip with some fantastic friends, had a wonderful time, and whilst I was away, the Grammy nominations were released. I didn't drop any videos while I was away, so I've been a bit quiet on the channel for my usual standards, but I'm back today to talk you through the Grammys. I'm probably behind everybody else in the content creation world. I'm sure there's multiple videos you can find already about this, so who knows if you even care about this at this point, because you know how news moves on so quickly. You might be like, Ryan, we've moved past this, we're on to something else. We don't care. But I wanted to drop some thoughts on it because you know what? This looks pretty good this year. I'm pretty impressed. I feel like it was hard to get it wrong because I do actually think pop music and popular music this year, in the past year, has been pretty strong. I've been impressed with a lot of songs that have been making it into the charts, that have been getting viral, that have been mainstream. I'm having a lot more enjoyment out of those songs this year than I have in quite some time. So you would think the Grammys would be able to reflect that well, but that's not always the case. The Grammys can throw in some curveballs. We all have our opinions on the Grammys, but sometimes they just kind of miss the mark. This year, I think it's pretty good, and we're going to talk through it. I'm going to react to these nominations, going to talk you through it, give my thoughts. Yeah, let's go. We've got the Beatles Now and Then, Beyonce, Texas Hold'em, Billie Eilish, Birds of a Feather, Chappell Roan, Good Luck Babe, 360, Charlie XCX, Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar, Espresso, Sabrina Carpenter, and then Fortnite with Taylor Swift, Post Malone. Look, you know what? This is mostly the type of songs you'd expect for Record of the Year. They never really drop in anything that's a massive curveball for these categories. I think they always want to kind of give you the sense of, look, this song has been super big this year. It's been popular. It's been popping off. It's got a lot of great qualities to it with the production, perhaps with the melodies, with, you know, everything like that, with how the song sounds. They always want to kind of represent the big boys and girls of the year, you know, and they've pretty much got it pretty well here. I mean, now and then the Beatles, I think we're stretching it a little bit. Perhaps name recognition has helped them with this one here. I know it did actually end up charting really well in a lot of countries, but come on, man, this doesn't even crack like the top 100 songs they've ever made. Like, seriously, man, it's fine. It's not that exciting. Maybe just helped along by the fact that it is the Beatles, I think, here. But yeah, Texas Hold'em is a fun little track. It's a bit hokey, it's a bit silly, but it's a fun little pop country crossover. I think Birds of a Feather is fantastic, actually. This track really grew on me. I think it's definitely Billie Eilish's like most intricate song in terms of how it's like layered with the production and how stunning her vocals sound. I think you could argue that there may be other songs that perhaps capture a more exciting and daring energy, because her first album was a bit more daring than this, but I just think in terms of how this song sounds and how the little details in the production come together, it's just wonderful. I'm really in awe of this track. Yeah, absolutely happy to see this here. I'm glad they picked this as well, because they easily could have gone with something like Lunch, just because that was a bit more catchier, but they've gone with the track that I think deserves it. Good Luck Babe, great song as well. Love Chappell Roan's Rise this year. It's great to see this track here. Of course, again, had such huge success, but again, it's just this nice 80s inspired pop jam, kind of has a bit of a Hall & Oates vibe to it, honestly. I'm great to see it here. 360, Charlie XCX. Really surprised they went with this track, but great to see. Charlie's had a great year. They're really respecting Charlie with the nominations as well. And Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar, said so much on that already. Espresso, Sabrina, fun, summery pop jam. Fortnite, again, they're always going to include Taylor Swift. I can't really get mad. But honestly, you're looking at like a bunch of tracks here, and 6 out of the 8 like are all worthy. 6 out of the 8 are worthy. And I don't know the last time we had a year where the Record of the Year had the vast majority of the songs worth being there. I know it's all opinion based, but seriously, like, they've got it really well this year. You could even argue that the Taylor Swift song, depending on how big of a fan you are of her, you might even like that one. So you could go to 7 for 8 if you want, really. Album of the Year, the curveball was Andre 3000. Just absolutely baffled with this one, but wow. What? Beyonce, Billie Eilish, Chappell Roan, Charlie XCX, Jacob Collier, I guess, Sabrina Carpenter, and then Taylor Swift. Of course, obvious names here. You're going to get the big pop hits. Of course, Sabrina Carpenter having such a massive year. I think they were just probably struggling to ignore this. Really, I think it's a bit of I think it's a bit of a reach calling Short and Sweet an album of the year contender, but I think just for how purely massive this has been and how much of a breakthrough it is for a new pop artist, I think they just kind of wanted to capitalize on that. I think they just wanted to include that because we've had a year of huge like new up and comers just breaking through all at the same time, and it might have just felt like a bit of a miss if they didn't quite capture this one. But yeah, I'm not mad at it. I still think Short and Sweet's pretty cute. It's a pretty decent album. I think some of the lyrics are a little bit annoying in places. I think the kind of high schooly mean girl character she plays is a bit annoying as well. But in terms of how the album sounds, it's nice. It's produced well. Can't really get mad at it. Brat, come on, man. Brat. You got the rise and fall of a Midwest princess. I think if you'd have told me when I initially reviewed it, this would be here, I'd have been like, no way, really? Although I did see that she would get big one day. I did predict that in my review, but I would never have predicted this to happen. This is massive. Hit Me Hard and Soft, Car by Carter. Yeah, Jacob Collier is kind of out of place here because I just think in terms of what his albums sound like, I'm just not here for it. I'm just not here for the sound of his albums. His ambition and his vision and everything about his like musical theory ideas are super impressive, but it just doesn't make for good sounding music, man. Oh my god, that song with Coldplay is just like atrocious. Like, yeah, just not really here for it. Andre 3000 needs somebody to explain how this one got here. You never see like instrumental albums make it into album of the year. Like, when was the last time? Like, you just don't ever see it. Yeah. Maybe name recognition again, because they loved Outkast. I mean, I think, isn't that the last rap artist to have album of the year at the Grammys? I'm sure Outkast are the last time a rap artist had album of the year, which is insane, by the way. I'm sure it's them. I'm sure, and that's what, 21, 22 years ago. That's how long it's been. They completely missed the opportunity to give so many rappers in the 2010s rap album of the year. Ridiculous, really, because there was so much excitement going on in hip-hop in the 2010s. It was at its prime in terms of like mainstream success too. They absolutely dropped the ball with not giving some of the big names from the 2010s a rap album of the year. But yeah, Andre 3000 is the last time a rapper got one with Outkast. So I guess they like him, but is this album of the year worthy? Don't know. Again though, I'm still taking like at least half of these and calling them genuinely really good albums. Yeah, I'm okay with this album of the year. It's a bit random with, you know, Andre and Jacob Collier, but whatever, man. It's still got some really good picks there. It is really the song categories, though, I think, are the ones that are like, okay, yeah, these are strong, because Song of the Year, again, mostly the same tracks with replacements of Lady Gaga and Bruno making it in with Die With A Smile. You've got Please, Please, Please instead of Espresso, and then a bar song, which is that massive Shabuzi song, which, of course, kind of has that tipsy interpolation, but it's like more of like a country pop jam. That's a pretty fun track to me, actually. I like that song. But yeah, mostly the same as Record of the Year. People always ask this. I'm pretty sure, though, that Song of the Year is based on like the writing and the lyrics and that kind of stuff, and what went into like the penmanship of all that kind of thing, which is why something like Die With A Smile makes it in here, because of, you know, I guess they're impressed with the writing. Or actually, I think that's the worst part of the track. I actually think the vocals are quite easily the obvious thing that sells the song. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I honestly could see that winning as well, you know. I could see that, because they love Bruno Mars. I really could see that winning Song of the Year. I'd be disappointed if it did. I'm not going to lie to you. It isn't a highlight out of these picks for me, although it is a decent track. It's fine. But yeah, again, what they've gone with here, all of the tracks that were in Record of the Year, makes sense to me. I'm happy to see, you know, something like Kendrick win. I'm happy to see something like Chappell Roan win. I'm happy to see something like Billie Eilish win. Like, these are all strong tracks that would absolutely deserve to win this category for me, for sure. Best New Artist is kind of where we start to look at it a little bit with some side eye. Just looking you down the barrel of a gun there, thinking, why is Khruangbin here? Because Khruangbin have been around since ages, actually. Absolutely ages. I remember reviewing that album in 2018. You probably could find that on the channel if you search for it. That's how long they've been around. They have not been just popping off in the past couple of years. They have been around for a long time. They are not Best New Artists. It's just silly. I don't know what the criteria is for stuff like this. Chappell Roan, Benson Boone, Doechii, Sabrina, Shabuzi, Teddy Swims. Yeah, to be fair, Ray, I'm thinking again, yeah, they're stretching it a little bit there. But you could argue all of the others are new artists, so I'm at least okay with their names being mentioned. But it's a list that makes sense, you know? Like, there's not really much here I can get mad at. I'm personally not a big fan of Benson Boone. I'm personally not a big fan of Teddy Swims, but it makes sense they made it in. You could even maybe think, oh, actually, Benson and Teddy could have easily made it into the song categories because of how big their songs were this year. I think many people would have been okay to see those songs make it in there too. Right, Best Pop Solo Performance is an interesting one for me because I saw a comparison tweet where it was like last year's versus this year's. And last year's had Flowers, Vampire, Antihero, Paint the Town Red, and the other Billie Eilish song, What Was I Made For, which was on the Barbie soundtrack, right? And somebody was like, last year's is way better. And I'm not seeing it, man. I'm not seeing it. I think this is a better crop of tracks than what they dropped last year. First of all, Paint the Town Red isn't even like a pop song, really. Like, it's more, she's rapping a lot more on that track that I think deserves to be in a pop solo performance. So that, by that alone, I think this list of 5 is better, because Bodyguard is one of the best songs on that Beyonce album. I've already talked about Birds of a Feather, Good Luck Babe. They've gone with Apple this time, which is nice to see a bit of variation. It really goes to show that they do appreciate this Charlie album, because they've thrown her in quite a few different categories, which is cool. And yeah, Espresso again, of course. So yeah, I'm pretty cool with this list. I think this is a solid list of songs. Very little to take away here. You could give it to any of these and I think it would make sense. Personally, I would say the worst track here is Espresso, but even then, that's still amongst, you know, a strong list. Espresso isn't a bad song, you know. But pop duo performance, Levi's Jeans, The Boy Is Mine, Guess, Us, and then Die With A Smile. I think Die With A Smile will probably win that, really, but you know what? Not the most strong category, actually. I don't think Levi's Jeans was that great on that album. I'm not really the biggest fan of Us. I think Guess is fun. Feels a bit more like a moment than it does a song that will like be remembered, though. I feel like comparatively to the rest of Brat, I think Charlie fans will live with that album a lot more than they will with the song Guess. You can see why it makes it onto this list. Yeah, you know, it's an okay crop of tracks here, but compared to some of the others, I think it might be one of the weaker song lists. The dance categories look okay too. Yeah, mostly solid stuff, I would say. You got Disclosure, you got Fortet in there, you got Fred Again and Baby Keem, Justice and Tame Impala, and then you got a K-Tronada track, Witchy. Solid tracks, really. I'm not really mad at this. The pop dance pop recording, Yes and, L'Amore da Mi Vi, Von Dutch, Make Me Mine, Got Me Started. Again, a pretty solid list of tracks there, to be fair. Like, even the Ariana track was one of the best of that album. You've got Von Dutch, which is a powerhouse of a track. That Troye Sivan song is a real earworm. Like, when you really sit with it, you realise how easy it is to get stuck in your head, but that sample is nicely thrown in. And then Charlie, Fortet, Justice, K-Tronada, Zed. I mean, Zed's a bit of an outlier there, because I think all of the others have a bit more of originality to them comparatively to somebody like Zed, but still a solid crop of albums. I thought that Justice album was good. I thought K-Tronada was kind of coasting it a little bit, but still put out a good album. Fortet is Fortet. He's always on to something solid. And then Brat is is probably going to win. But yeah, let's go down to the rock tracks. So actually, I'm interested. They have randomly more rock songs here. You've got Beatles, Black Keys, Green Day, Idols, Pearl Jam, and then St. Vincent. I am heavily rooting for St. Vincent here. Like, I am really heavily rooting for St. Vincent. I think this is a pretty weak rock listing, to be honest with you. Green Day, Black Keys, Idols, I think are past their best by this point already. I don't think they're putting out anything worthwhile these days. And then the Beatles track is just still not really seeing the love for that one. But again, you've got basically the same list of songs for best rock song, minus the Beatles. And they swapped out a Green Day song with a new one. Random, what's the point? Like, do we need both of these categories? If you're just going to drop the same songs? I don't really know. Best rock album, Black Rose, admittedly haven't heard it. Fontaine's DC, that was solid. Green Day, nah. Idols, nah. Jack White probably got snubbed in the rock song categories, to be honest, because if you're going to call that one of the best rock albums of the year, why can't you have a song from it in there? Pearl Jam again, and then the Rolling Stones. I mean, Jack White is far and away the winner there for me, I think. Alternative music performance, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, though, we love to see that. And then alternative album, this is a nice list of alternative albums too, because you've got Brittany Howard, you've got Clairo, you've got Kim Gordon, which was wacky as hell, that album. You've got Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and then St. Vincent again. That is a strong crop of albums there. I've got to say, I wouldn't necessarily be mad at any of them winning, really. Wild God would be the one I would love to see winning, because I love Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. But of course, Clairo's album's really good. St. Vincent's album's really good. Like, come on, man, that is a really strong list. Now, it's really R&B and rap, sorry, where we start to falter, I think. A lot of these categories down in these R&B and rap sections are pretty weak. You've got Chris Brown, we're still doing Chris Brown, I guess, Coco Jones, Jenny Aiko, Moody Long, and SZA. Nothing necessarily wrong with this list, but like, why is it the live version? Like, I don't understand how we do that, really. Should we not just have like a live section specifically for songs? If you're gonna, I don't know. Sometimes you just see live versions and not the actual song, which I find a bit bizarre. But yeah, SZA, I'd give that SZA, to be honest, quite easily. And then R&B song, again, like, it's just kind of a bit weak to me. Progressive R&B album, whatever the hell that word really means. You got Gambino in there, you got Kalani in there. No Worries is the easy winner. They do love Anderson .Paak too, so I actually think that's a decent contender to actually just win that award. But yeah, that really, I don't know what the point of this section is, progressive and then R&B. I don't really know. But you know what, No Worries really heavily snubbed out of just the R&B section here. Another massive snub, which I haven't really been mentioning snubs at all, but Raven Lenae? You couldn't make a place for Raven Lenae? I mean, that Usher album is just Usher way past his best with a lot of cringe lyrics. Like, I honestly think the only reason that came out was really just to kind of capitalize on the fact that he was doing the Super Bowl. So if you just drop some music at the same time as you're about to do one of the biggest live performances in world music, really, you may as well just kind of do something to boost your name recognition, because that album was just not good at all. And then rap performance, this section is good. You've got some pretty clear, obvious contenders here. I mean, really, right near the bottom, you've got the Eminem track, which went to number one. You've got Like That, which went to number one. Not Like Us, which went to number one. Like, massive songs here, amongst some pretty cool picks, like Doechii being here is quite cool. Common and Pete Rock, I'm quite happy to see. And then Cardi B, I guess. Glorilla, yeah, Glow was pretty big. But I don't know, is Cardi B really popping off like that now? I feel like she drops a song every now and then and it just makes no waves. And then we just kind of move on from it. But I guess. Let's go to rap song, and then we'll do a melodic rap song, because again, it's pretty much the same contenders except with Carnival added in and Rhapsody, which I do like to see Rhapsody. But Carnival is a terrible pick. I do not know what we're doing there. I I don't know, man. Some of these category sort of sections sort of don't really make sense in my brain sometimes, because I don't know why we've got performance and then song, because it's basically the same picks except a few new ones. But anyway, let's not even get into the ins and outs of that. So like, these are fine. This is fine. But rap album is just like, I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling it. Like, I see why you'd give Houdini a nomination in the rap song category, because that song probably is one of the best on that album, and it was also the lead single, and it's also Eminem kind of coming back and still showing he has massive longevity. But the album itself, I just saw it was a massive dud. Like, sitting through it was a slog. I think the concept just didn't come together either. I think you could see what he was trying to do, but I really didn't think he'd botch something like that. I thought Eminem conceptually was usually quite good, and was good at kind of like putting together like a narrative and a story. If you go to, you know, songs from like the Marshall Mathers LP days, you could clearly see, like, even if you don't necessarily enjoy the song, you can see what he's doing with the song like Kim. So I thought conceptually Eminem was there. But the Death of Slim Shady is just rough to me. J. Cole, I mean, I don't even think him deleting the diss to Kendrick is that bad, as some people say. I see why he did it. He was like, look, I threw myself out there. Maybe he went a bit hasty with it. Maybe I wasn't quite thinking properly. Just kind of a bit of ego got in the way. Realized this isn't who I am. I'm going to take myself away from this. I think he gets a lot of hate for that, really. I actually admire a little bit of the fact that he kind of just backed down and thought, you know what, this isn't me. I'm being someone I'm not. I can admit that I could just, you know, I was wrong on this occasion. But it's still on, like, it's still part of the album, and it's the fact that it's called Might Delete Later and he deleted a song. Like, can we put that in the best rap album category? Like, I don't know, I just find the idea of that odd. And the chauvinism, the bragging, how hard he is, how difficult he is to like take down, and every other rapper around me is just never going to be able to beat me. And then like he has an opportunity to go into a beef and steps out. All of that feels a bit fake now. I just don't see what people are seeing in Cole at this stage, particularly this mixtape. This should not be here. I don't think Eminem should be here. I think We Don't Trust You. I'm a bit split on this one, because I feel like Future and Metro weren't offering the best of themselves. And I really do think when years pass, we will remember the fact that this started and ignited a beef more than we will the actual album. So I don't know if this really is worth nominating. I can see why, though. If we're looking at mainstream albums, sure. I actually think the Common and Pete Rock album and the Doechii album are the two best here. Like, and they are by far the least recognizable names. And I'm not saying that to be a hipster. They just are the best albums here. They're more like the Common and Pete Rock one is just filled with fantastic Pete Rock production. Common is earnest and, you know, kind of corny, but he's unapologetically himself. Doechii is hungry, she's fiery, she has a lot to prove and offer. And the rest of the albums just feel like the artists coasting on their usual sound that they've done and we've heard so many times before. So yeah, I'm giving it to one of them two. I'm really pissed off that we do not have Schoolboy Q here. I'm extra pissed off we do not have Vince Staples here. That is easily one of the best rap albums of the year. They've just botched it with this rap section, man. Like, aside from the fact that probably Not Like Us is going to win all the categories, the rest of the nominations are just a bit flat. I mean, we got Beyonce with Spaghetti. I did see some people saying, like, you know, oh, come on, man, like, Beyonce's getting all these nominations. But the album did cross and enter many different genres. So I'm not really mad at her getting into the country album nomination, the pop categories, the rap categories, because the album was all over the place with the genres, so it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, Lotto, that Kalani track is just not very good. We Did Still Don't Trust You, I thought was a pretty cool track actually, but yeah, this is just pretty weak, man. I'm not going to run you through each category because we start getting to stuff like gospel performance and traditional roots tracks and stuff like that, which I don't think many of my viewers are going to care too much about. I am going to say though, A Rouge Aftab I saw scrolling down has a nomination, love that. Adrian Lenk has a nomination, love that. Chris Stapleton is popping up in the country categories. I really like Chris Stapleton, good to see. So yeah, lots of good things to take away from the sort of niche categories when you scroll down. I've pointed out some snubs that I would have liked to have seen mentioned throughout this list. I could even throw in, names that would very unlikely be nominated, but honestly, if the Grammys were just a bit more on it, I think you could see Sufjan Stevens making into some of these categories, at least alternative. Like, surely you can justify putting his album from last year in the alternative. Sampha, talking about vocal performances, that guy is an incredible singer. He could have easily popped up in some of the pop vocal categories. It's not traditionally pop. Or maybe if you want to be calling it R&B, sure, call it whatever you want, just get him in there, because I think Sampha is a really good artist. Magdalena Bay is an interesting one that I've seen people say quite a bit about. It's good to see them getting to that point where people are saying that they were snubbed for a Grammy, because I don't think anyone would have said that in 2021, but they've gained some popularity. They're starting to become a more recognizable name, and it's great to see them enter these conversations. They're just never gonna usurp a Taylor Swift, and I think if they did though, would that be bad for them? Because I don't know if it's good for an artist who is on the rise like Magdalena Bay, who have pretty much a general consensus with how positive people are about their music. Mostly there's going to be always naysayers with every type of album and artist, but yeah, if they're just kind of on that little nice gradual rise, and then you see them nominated and it takes the slot of a huge name, the backlash and the vitriol that comes along with it just might cause too much problems for them. I don't think they really deserve that. I'd rather see them hit a point where they go viral with a track, and then maybe then you can talk about it, because they're still quite in that indie sphere really. But overall, regardless of any snubs that you might want to pick up for the Grammys, and I know that sounds backhanded, but it is a bit backhanded, I'm looking through, I'm okay with a lot of this, man. I'm okay with it. I think this has been a solid year. I think if we start seeing shit like Jacob Collier winning Album of the Year, that's when I think we can come out and get a bit annoyed. But for what it's worth, the nominations and what we've seen pop up, it's pretty solid. Like, you're not going to get indie classics popping up into the Grammys, right? You're just not. You're going to have to take it with a pinch of salt. It is a popularity contest. It is very much driven by the mainstream. And for what it is, this is pretty good. It's pretty damn good, I think. And I think you could look in multiple categories, and it's hard to pick a winner as well. Like, it's pretty hard. There's no outlier like that's running away and going to take the win, and it's obvious. Because I don't even think Beyonce is obviously going to win Album of the Year. It feels like at this point Beyonce is very much overdue in Album of the Year. But I could see again it happening where we think she's going to do it and it goes to something like Billie Eilish. It's hard to call. You never rule out Taylor Swift. She is definitely a front runner every time she's nominated. And they might just appreciate the fact that Brat was just such a moment this year that they want to give it to that. It's hard to call. It is what it is. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. I'm long past the days of getting really about the Grammys. I'm past that. I think this is a solid year. Let me know what you think in the comments though. This video is probably longer than it really needs to be. But I had a lot to say. I was interested to see what people think as well. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out more videos and content on the channel if you haven't too. Would love to see you guys stick around. Let me know your picks for each category, what you'd love to see win. What are some of the snubs as well. That's it from me. Have a good day. Goodbye.